Welcome back to this hobby of ours. I am here in beautiful Sunnyvale and still putting one of my besties to work. What up, Rose City?
All good.
All good.
How are you doing?
Good. He came up with this idea for the episode on the fly. Loved it immediately. We're going to jump into it. Top 3 lessons learned in our horological journeys. That's pretty good.
Should we call it horological horrors?
That was the name of the Halloween episode.
Yeah. That should be the title of another episode.
Yeah, I might do an annual
Let's
Halloween.
do a horological horrors also.
Yeah, that was cool.
Monstrous watches, among other things.
Yeah. That's so funny. Way too many people send in Invicta. They need to watch my other Invicta videos. They got some nice offerings in their vintage line. All right. I will let you kick it off, sir. What is your number 1 top lesson learned?
Well, I'd say be careful with vintage, right? And I don't just mean all the Franken watches. I know that vintage is, the sort of level of fakery or the level of sophistication that goes into faking vintage watches, baking things in ovens, etc.
Franken watches, particularly.
Yeah, and I was reading something on one of the watch sites recently. I don't know if it was Hodinkee or something else, saying that even vintage watch dealers, experts, are like being very careful about vintage because, just
Getting knocked off.
The provenance of them is like so kind of hard to tell, right? But it's not just that. It's also as a watch dealer once told me that an authorized dealer, they also sell vintage watches, Fortin in Carmel by the Sea, that a vintage watch is like a vintage sports car, right?
Yeah.
You got to be like really careful. You're always worried about damaging it, scratching it. You never know when it's going to need servicing, or if a particular part is missing, then. I had my wife's grandfather's Bucra, which she had purchased in 1950 from Geneva.
Send me a photo of that and I'll pop it in.
Sounds good. I had that restored, and Saragin's Fine Watches, San Francisco, this wonderful place. They did it for me, and at some point Saragin did it as a labor of love.
Right on.
I actually think that after a point it was not even something necessarily something he made money off, which anyone is entitled to do, but he was like, he had to send some parts back or request some parts 3 times. So
yeah, that is a good point. Vintage can be a minefield for sure. My first point is, and it's not mine, but it's one I learned, and I recite it all the time. You make your money when you buy the watch, not when you sell it. I learned that from Roman Scharf, and it's proven true time and time again. And I think maybe with your collecting, you're working with a lot of ADs typically, and so I think you've even expressed that the retail burn has got when you're buying new from the AD, it's hard to get your money back out of it if it's not a hype watch. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, it is. And once you have a relationship with an AD, you sometimes get a discount. I'll say that there is a intangible value to it as well, right? In the same way that there's a certain value you get from a good meal that you enjoy, right? Or when you think of books, for instance, right? A book is something that will lose value. Maybe a beautiful coffee table book, it's something that when you sell, you're not going to get much money back. You keep it in your collection or you enjoy it for a while. So there's a value to the enjoyment as well. But you're right. And that brings me to perhaps my second point, which is, what I call the sunk cost fallacy. And
I'll put it up because I didn't even know the spelling. It's SUNK, sunk cost fallacy,
or sunk cost principle. And there's another concept called Gresham's law, which is, lay
it down for me.
Say you've spent X amount of money, just $1,000 on a watch, right? And you either tire of it or you realize you're not feeling the magic, you want to sell it, right? But you get onto eBay or Chrono24 or a forum, and the best you're going to get after commissions or whatever is, let's just say $500, and you don't want to lose $500 because in your mind it's 50% of the cost, right? So what you do is, to trade it in, you spend another $700 and get another watch, right? But it may not be a watch that you're crazy about. So because you're always trying to recoup the money that you've already spent in, you actually wind up spending more money.
Oh.
And the other, the related concept, and I'll turn it over to you after this, is Gresham's law. I think that's what it's called. I'm not an economist, but it's that good money chases bad, right? Think of it with crypto, like Dogecoin or whatever. people put money into it. It was falling 6 cents, 5 cents, and they kept buying more and more, thinking that it's going to go up to $1 again, right? I mean, will it?
And then they just keep losing the money.
You keep losing the money, right? So that is something that can happen.
And somewhat related to that, talking about money, I discovered that you can offer significantly less money than the asking price and get a yes. Now, I'm not advocating for absurd lowball offers, but I myself, when I list watches, I purposely list them too high, higher than anyone in their right mind would buy on purpose, because I want to control my buyer pool. What I mean by that is, and I'll put in the heading, make an offer. I don't want someone to be able to just come along and buy, avoiding scams or, bad buy. There are bad buyers just like there are bad sellers. I want to be able to control that. And what I mean is, I want to have a conversation with the buyer instead of just someone blindly buying something. I found that has been the best way of getting a good buyer. I consider myself a good seller, and I want a good buyer. I don't want to deal with any yahoos. So that's my second thing is, there's a way to respectfully make an offer, even if that offer is going to be significantly less, as long as you can justify it. Like, the number one way to justify making a lower offer is if a comparable watch just sold for a different price, that's what the market can claim, right? So you're being perfectly reasonable in doing so. And kicking it over to you for your number 3, I'm laughing because I've witnessed it over the course of our friendship.
Yeah.
Go ahead and lay it down.
Well, you will find different things horologically interesting at different points of time. Tastes will change, but I will add the caveat that they will change in a way that you can't predict. Like for me, the Rolex Cyclops, right? As I just find the Cyclops perfect now, and it goes perfectly with the Explorer. But in the abstract, before I...
Wait, you mean the Explorer 2?
The Cyclops Eye on many of the Rolexes have it.
Does the Explorer 1 have one?
No, the Explorer 1 doesn't have it. The 369 does. Yeah, the Explorer 2.
Yeah,
you're right. Sorry about that.
Because there's no date.
Yeah, there's no date. Or some of the subs come without it, and those are like
Explorer 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, so those also are fantastic. But I'm still on a quest for like the perfect 4-watch collection is the way I like to see it. But if tastes keep changing, there will be no perfect 4-watch collection. So my idea is, out of that 4, let me try and nail down 2 that are going to be timeless, and then maybe the other 2 will be, will constantly keep shifting.
Because you mentioned in the car ride over that, sometimes if you only gather unto yourself timeless designs, they can sometimes be boring.
Yeah.
In a certain way, because in order to be timeless, it's like not changing, right?
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of wild and out watches out there, but I know what you mean. I think I need to look up how long we've been friends and add that into the video, because I don't know what year it was, but I've witnessed you go through an awful lot of watches as either taste change or maybe it was like a hobby for you. And so that's an absolute true thing. I've seen it with myself. The thing I saw over the course of my collecting, though, was more prices. Like, you keep ratcheting up. I mean, I'm never going to be a person to own a $20,000 watch. It's just never going to be me. I don't even see me ever getting to 10, to be blunt. But I remember a time when $400 seemed astronomical, and it wasn't that long ago. I was like, I'll never spend that much on a watch. Hilarious, dude. But yeah. Taste can definitely keep changing.
And your third lesson?
Get a time grapher. A time grapher is a little machine. Mine says Weishi on it, the Weishi 1000. It's $150 well spent, although I think they may have gone up to $180. If you're going to be buying used watches, you need a time grapher to make sure it's healthy. Yes, you can run to your watchmaker with it, but that time grapher has saved me so many times, but also it allows me to regulate my own watches.
And saves you a lot of time too, if you excuse the bad pun.
But without that, I couldn't regulate my own watches. Now, I learned the hard way just by doing. And I got the tools to take off the case back. I like to be able to fix things. But you know what? I'll never change the oil on my car. Like, first, it's a messy job, but there's some things I leave to the experts.
Right.
But I'll open up a $3,000 Mega, watch it happen.
More confident than I am. I wouldn't do it.
Are you changing your bracelets yourself yet?
I am changing my straps, but I'm still like nervous about scratching things, and I can be a clumsy
All you have to
person.
do, okay, we'll have a little demo.
Yeah,
This is the back of his watch. All you have to do is put a little masking tape right here, and you're fine. Because the lug rash, as I call it, happens when you've got, this is quick release. These are great. Isn't this a great invention?
This is fantastic. It's
Why aren't more quick release spring bars out there?
This was absolutely fantastic. Comes with this sort of inbuilt
strap?
spring bars. And
Who made this strap? This is a nice strap.
I forget the name of it's BNR. It's BNR Bands. BNR Bands is the name of the website. It's reasonably priced, fantastic stuff.
No.
I've had straps from them before, and I just love it.
But the point being is, like, if you you're going to get that lug rash when you put one of the spring bars in the hole and it's resting on the other one and you're monkeying with it to get it in.
Yeah.
That's when it will go sideways on you. So as long as you do that, I'm so glad you're changing straps. When we first met, he was not doing it. Did I ship you a Bergeon?
You shipped me the Bergeon, and that's the one that's the one I use. I don't use anything more sophisticated than that.
I was trying to empower my buddy, because there's nothing more empowering
Yeah.
in watch ownership at the beginning, where you can change out your own straps and bracelets. That was like such a ramp up, and before you know it, I'm taking the watch apart and regulating it. I would do more with watches internally, but my hands cramp.
Yeah.
And it's like, the most I can do is regulate.
I mean, is I'm delighted. For me, this is sort of my peak, because that first scratch on the watch. It's like the first scratch on the new car, right? And it could be a used watch. It could have like some scratches already, but it's new to you, and so that's basically been the hesitation. But yeah, it's tremendously liberating, and then you can just swap up things. It freshens up the watch, and it's so much fun.
The strap can make a watch. So that has been our top 3 lessons learned in the world of horology. We hope that wherever you are in the world, you're enjoying your day in this fabulous hobby of ours. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Peace.
Peace.
Dude, you're doing amazing today.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of work out of you.
Yeah.
I need to treat.
This is fine. I mean, it's very relaxing for me.
Yeah, I need to treat you to a meal.